And I'm just following her going, that's not Sia. If anybody thinks that lady who sounds just like Sia, singing Sia songs is Sia, that's not her at all. Lo siento, lo siento. So we get into the little motorboat. I'm vomiting over the side. The dogs are vomiting over the side. Sia is singing and giggling. It was awesome. So we finally get to the house, and it was paradise. She gets all set up with her iPads. The beach is right there. It has a private beach, which I actually learned is not a thing. And by the way, it shouldn't be. But the house was always billed as a house with a private beach. But guess who discovered our private beach? The gays. Oh yeah. That's right. So every day at 3 o'clock, like clockwork, a catamaran full of gays
oh God,
would pull up to our house, and then they would just be diving out like mermen, doing synchronized swimming, wearing the uniform, the lime green thong. That's the uniform this year. And so it was so funny because the guys who worked at the house, every time that would happen, they'd go, Mrs. Kathy, Mrs. Sia, the gays are here, hide. I knew those gays would rip Sia limb from limb. But it was just funny, we would laugh about it. Okay, so one night it's time for dinner, so I sit down, it's 6 o'clock, she's not there. So I go in her room, Sia, it's 6 o'clock, let's go eat. Sit down for a few more minutes, still no Sia. Go back in the room. Sia, it's time to... I looked down on the floor. She tripped on that fucking gown and she hit her head on the marble floor of the bathroom.
oh my,
And her head is bleeding. You guys, I was never so scared in my life. So I'm like, okay, honey, don't move. We're gonna take care of you. It's gonna be okay. And she starts giggling. And I go, what are you laughing at? She goes, it's just my stitches, mate. I said, I don't care if it's just your stitches. We're going to get you to a hospital. Now, the next thought that I had in my head is not one that I'm proud of.
oh Jesus.
But you know what? I'm just going to tell you because it was real and I regret it. But I admit at that moment, I may have thought just for a second, you're not doing this on Kathy Griffin's vacation. No fucking way. No way. I'm not going to my grave known as the woman who killed singing sensation Sia. You can do that with Chelsea Handler. Get up. You can pull that shit with Wanda Sykes. Get up. So anyway, she was giggling, thank God. But we had to figure out how to get her to the hospital. You guys, there was no hospital on the island. There's no gurney, there's no urgent care center. So we had to get her to the fucking boat and then the van ride. So they had to improvise to even get her in the boat. So she's in the gown and they ended up using a Corona beer plastic beach chair. They're taking her gently to the boat. She's apologizing and laughing. And then who rolls up at that minute?
The gays.
The catamaran full of gays. And my hand to God, they are blasting the dance version of Chandelier. So what does Sia start to do? Swing. I'm like, not now, honey, not now. Okay, so we finally get her to the hospital. She spent the night there, and let me tell you, it was the longest night of my life. And the next day we were to leave. So I went to the hospital, and I said, Sia, why don't you stay here for a couple of days so they can keep an eye on you, just to be safe. And she goes, I like to go home now, mate. I like her. Do you like how I'm doing her like Oliver Twist? Please, son, I have some more. So anyway, I said, okay, if you're hell-bent on going home, we'll go home today. Now, you know, legally, you can't walk out of a hospital for liability reasons. You have to leave in a wheelchair. So the people at the hospital were so considerate of her anonymity. They didn't put her name on any of the blood work or any of the papers, and that's why you never heard about it. So I was like very relieved about that. So I put her in the wheelchair, and we're going out, and I'm saying, we're almost at the home stretch, honey. We're almost there. We're gonna get on the plane in no time. By the time we got to the door, the entire staff had gathered at the door and they were going, "Goodbye, Mrs. Sia! Goodbye, Mrs. Sia!" She had been singing to them all night, taking requests. So much for the anonymity, but that part never got out until she said I could say it. And then she flew home and she survived, and that's my Sia story.